the model from after World War II till now was rich countries give money to poor countries, including through multilateral organizations like the UN. And we've done that for 80 years, and most countries are still poor, that we're poor. So it doesn't have the catalytic effect of changing the status of a country, right? Donations are very important, and official development assistance is really important, because for many poor countries, it's a significant part of their budget. But that by itself will not make them less poor. What we've seen in countries like India and China that have really lifted millions of people, and sometimes hundreds of millions of people, out of poverty, is that you need a combination of things. You need a viable private sector so that people have access to loans that they can use to start businesses so they can lift their families out of poverty. For that, you need a government that is non-corrupt and regulatory change so that new enterprise is not stifled and innovation is rewarded. And you need capacity in the government to handle things like increased banking needs, corporate contract law enforcement, regulations at the central bank. You need a lot of things, which in the UN they call the enabling environment. You need the environment to be conducive to support the growth of business. And when you have those things in place, when you have good regulations and honest government and capacity within the government to handle the environment that's required for businesses to grow, and you give people access to finance, then that's when people become less poor.
I think investment firms like ours are generally doing two things to address responsible investing. One is that they're arming and equipping all of their investment teams to just be more sensitive to environmental, social, and governance factors when they go about their normal job of investing their portfolios. There's a rising awareness throughout the industry that environmental, social, and governance factors aren't just socially material, they're financially material. And so analyzing those things has to be a core part of what every investment team does, whether you manage a responsible investing product or a more traditional investing product. So I think that's the first thing that most investment firms, certainly like ours at AllianceBernstein, are doing, is really making sure that all of their teams are deeply integrating this and are well armed and well prepared to do this. And then the other thing that firms are doing is coming up with products that are more specifically geared towards responsible investors. So in my case, for instance, we manage global equity portfolios that are built on the framework of the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
The potential opportunities are boundless, right? Because there's only so much grant money, but there's tons of investment money, right? There's many times more dollars available for investment than there is for grants. So if we can use the aid money catalytically to draw in some of that investment capital, that's good for everybody. And if we can help select projects and entrepreneurs and businesses in poor countries that are respecting the environment, that are adhering to the Paris climate goals, that have a sustainable development impact, then we can make sure that those are the types of projects that will spur the economic growth that we want to see. And because it's an investment and not a grant, we have more leverage to have those projects become viable businesses instead of just a development project that needs to be funded every year. So if we give a grant to an entrepreneur, a woman entrepreneur in Bangladesh, and she buys a sewing machine and she can support her family, soon she's going to need a loan to buy another sewing machine so she can increase her production capacity, or to buy a truck so that she can take her purses to a bigger market in a bigger city. So then it creates all these opportunities for additional investment that's needed in essentially profit-making businesses. So it's a really new way of looking at development. Instead of saying, I give you something that will help you, that will solve your problem, you're saying, I give you access to the tools you need to solve your own problem.